This is very recent. This happened just this afternoon. Pete Hegseth has managed to land himself into a little bit of controversy. He ended up adding a reporter to a Signal chat room with several other high-ranking cabinet members. You see here, Pete Hegseth accidentally added a journalist to a Signal group chat that was being used as a command center for U.S. military strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. Here's also Pete Hegseth telling a reporter that he thinks should happen to politicians when they accidentally leak info. I can't play this audio because I'm sure it'll be copyrighted. Let's just say it's Pete Hegseth saying that they should be jailed. So, and this is regards to the Hillary Clinton emails. This pales in comparison to their Hillary Clinton emails. And you can see here when he was confronted by it, a reporter asked, "Can you share how your information about war plans was shared with the journalist?" And in typical MAGA fashion, so you're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who has made a profession of peddling hoaxes, never really disputing the legitimacy of that particular chat room. And then we have here earlier on in this administration when I think it was actually last week, Pete Hegseth, under the previous administration, we looked like fools. Not anymore. Wrong. You're wrong, Petey. You're looking pretty bad right now. And you can see here, the Republicans are covering for this behavior. Let's be very clear. If this was anybody like Joe Biden or President Obama, they would have been calling for impeachment immediately. Immediately. Rest assured of that. Here's Josh Hawley saying, "This is what the leftist media reduced to. So now we are griping about who is on a text message and who is not." I mean, come on, guys. It's just a text message. It's just a text message of, war plans. Come on now, guys. It's just a text message, guys. Yeah, it's not a big deal if, our enemies were to have gotten a hold of that message or anything. It's just a message. Just a text message. Or how about House Speaker Mike Johnson defending the Trump administration, saying that, where is it here? Basically that it was an accident and it's all good to go, basically is what it was. I could probably play this audio. We'll play this audio real quick.
I'm concerned
Oh, hold on. I can't. Oh.
About Trump officials transmitting classified war plans on unsecured channels.
Listen, the administration, as I understand, I just was with the president in the Oval Office just now. The administration is addressing what happened. Apparently, an inadvertent phone number made it onto that.
Oh, inadvertent.
We're going to track that down and make sure that it doesn't happen again. What you did see, though, I think, was top level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision. That mission was a success. No one was jeopardized because of it. We're grateful for that.
That's just patently incorrect. Had this gotten leaked out to the wrong people, it absolutely would have jeopardized the security of those individuals.
But they will certainly, I'm sure, make sure that doesn't happen.
But it talks on Signal. They were talking on Signal, not in Moscow.
I'm not going to characterize.
This man, Mike Johnson's like, how do I say this? How do I navigate this? How do I navigate this? I've got to appear good in front of. I can't undermine Donald Trump.
What happened? Clearly, I think the administration has acknowledged it was a mistake, and they'll tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen again.
They'll tighten up, guys. We'll make sure we do better. We'll make sure we do better, and we're not gonna do anything. We'll just make sure it doesn't happen again. And they all seem to be falling into line with the same rhetoric, by the way, that they're trying to brush it off as a nothing burger. This is hysterical, by the way. This is like low level cover up if I'd ever seen one. Low effort. Donald Trump even saying that, of course, like in typical Trump fashion, he didn't know anything about this, and that it was the media's fault for this, and that he doesn't know anything about it. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. The most transparent president. So what we've seen is Pete Hegseth leaking, if you will, unintentionally leaking certain war plans to the press. I've seen some people claim this is a 4D chess move. I just think it's one of those kind of things that's so crazy to me that you just don't expect it to happen. And it almost feels like it's almost like you just sit there and you're like, this has to be a reason, right? There has to be a reason. I think the most likely, I think the most likely thing that happened here was that Pete Hegseth, having been in the media, very likely had a whole litany of journalists in his phone as a contact, and he may have inadvertently added somebody else instead. That's the most likely explanation that I can think of. And either way, I want to call it now, this is deserving of an investigation. On Musky Musk, he is slowly, rapidly actually, spiraling out of control. It's pretty crazy. So number of Tesla owners trading in their cars has just surged to an all-time record high as the company's stock continues to plunge. This is what a movement looks like. However, the Trump administration is not too happy with the way in which people are protesting Musk's Tesla company. You can see here, Attorney General to Jasmine Crockett, tread very carefully with your Musk critique. Once again, another imposition on Jasmine Crockett's First Amendment protections, by the way. And you can see here Ron Filipkowski saying the self-styled free speech people constantly threatening to imprison people for merely speaking. Just another glaring example of that. And one thing I want to talk about is I want to kind of show you guys this guy here, good old Obama. Now, this is going to trigger a lot of people because I know that MAGA does not like Obama. And when Obama was doing this, they claimed that I actually watched a few clips. I was curious. I started diving into it today. And I noticed that at the time, Republicans were saying that it wasn't enough. They were claiming that he was barely cutting waste and he was increase. What was it? They were saying that he was not cutting enough and that he was increasing spending on the defense budget. That was the Republican argument back in the day. And looking in hindsight, it was very, very milquetoast. But let's look at how they did this. Let's look at how the Obama administration actually sought to try to cut down on waste and how it differs from what we're going through with Elon Musk, by the way. So you can see here that they made a new oversight and accountability board. Building on the successful execution of the Recovery Act, the Vice President announced the establishment, Vice President Biden, by the way, of a new oversight and accountability board to help federal agencies improve their performance and reduce waste, fraud, and abuse across the government. The Recovery Act's use of unprecedented transparency to drive accountability and prevent fraud is a success story that needs to be replicated across federal government spending. The mission of the new board is to allow taxpayers the same ability, they messed that one up, to track where their dollars are going and to have the same confidence that the dollars are not being lost to waste, fraud, or abuse, not just for Recovery Act dollars, but more broadly. This is where it differs. Now, you're probably looking at me going, Vince, this is like the same thing as Doge, but we're about to see where it's majorly different. The board will be composed of 11 members, including agency inspector generals. Why would they need inspector generals? To actually identify true fraud. Agency chief financial officers. Oh, chief financial officers for a actual fiscal audit. Got it. Or deputy secretaries and an official from the Office of Management and Budget. All of which, I would argue, are highly qualified to conduct these audits. Now you see where the Obama administration's effort to go after waste, fraud, and abuse was significantly different than what we saw from this administration here. Elon right now has a few crypto bros going through with AI, identifying certain programs and cutting them. Not recommending it to any kind of a board. Let's be very clear here. There's not a board of 11 Musks, okay? And now we have here number 2. This is not the only thing. Regular cabinet meetings to report progress to, not to President Obama, to the vice president. The executive order also strengthens accountability, directing cabinet members to report progress, cutting waste, and delivering results directly to the VP. Just as he did with the Recovery Act, the Vice President will be holding regular meetings with cabinet members to make sure they are doing all we can to eliminate government waste, save taxpayer dollars, and make government work better. The order also requires agency chief operating officers, generally deputy secretaries, and chief financial officers report progress regularly to the OMB. The reason why they're reporting this to the OMB is so that they can recommend it to Congress. So that is why. And keep in mind, too, when we had this usaspending.gov that all of MAGA finally discovered on the internet, that has been in existence since Obama because that was part of Obama's efforts to try and cut down on waste, fraud, and abuse. So this actually negates MAGA's arguments that Democrats don't want to tackle waste, fraud, and abuse. They do want to tackle waste, fraud, and abuse. And I would even argue that the way that Obama did it, perfect. So perfect. That is how it ought to be done. The way that Musk is doing it is reckless. It's a bull in a china shop. So, Kamala Harris busting in all these supporters. Well, it turns out we finally have a litmus test to go by to see where the temperature is in the country. And that has to do with the, I believe it's the Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin's Supreme Court race. Well, Brad Schimmel had to bus in Republicans. You can see here where it says in this article or this post from YR National, if we save Wisconsin, we save America. Great to have young Republicans from 17 states on the ground in Waukesha today, knocking doors for Brad Schimmel. Coming in from all over the state. They're trying to pump as much money into this race because they desperately want it to look as if Americans support what Donald Trump is doing. We also see this, though, playing out. Democrat Khanna holds a town hall in a very, very red Bakersfield, California, and draws a huge crowd on Sunday. I mean, just look at this. It is a school auditorium. Let's be fair here. But it's a relatively large crowd, all things considered. And then we have here Khanna saying, and this is the thing, too, when you see the Democrat Party losing favorability, let's be very clear why that's the case. The reason that this is the case is because of this right here. Khanna said, I don't have any faith in Schumer saving democracy. And this is exactly why. And the funny thing is we can see Chuck Schumer went on to meet the press. And I kid you not, this was an actual statement made by Chuck Schumer. Our plan is to make Donald Trump the quickest lame duck in modern history by showing how bad his policies are. I believe by 2026, the Republicans in the House and Senate will feel like they are rats on a sinking ship because we have so gone after Trump. Keep in mind, Chuck Schumer had an opportunity to actually have a lame duck presidency by not voting on the continuing resolution. He voted for the continuing resolution. So this is very rich. And this is why a lot of Americans are disappointed in the Democrat Party. It's not because the Democrat Party is this is the problem with MAGA is they see certain things and they're like, oh, that the disappointment in Democrats means that they're coming over to the Republican Party. No. One thing that's happened in the Democrat Party is that they're disappointed in their leadership. They're disappointed with how things are going. We saw this, I believe it was with the Tea Party, right? The Tea Party showed a lot of resentment towards Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump. Tea Party showed a lot of resentment towards the traditional Republican Party. So didn't mean that the Tea Party went Democrat. It just meant that they were upset with how the direction the Republican Party was going. So we go to the next one here about these town halls. We saw Pam Bondi earlier talk about how she was telling Jasmine Crockett to chill down on the language. Well, here it is here. Donald Trump saying, I just watched our great Republican congressman from North Carolina, Chuck Edwards, hold a town hall in Asheville. He was a total gentleman, but the room was littered, quote unquote, with radical left lunatics, mostly Democrats, and all he did was scream, shout, and use filthy language, which, by the way, I think is hysterical because all Donald Trump has done is, scream and use dirty language himself. They were largely paid agitators with fake signs and slogans who were only there to make trouble. Chuck put up with it and was wonderful. Remember, Biden and his FEMA did nothing for North Carolina. Keep in mind, we still have not heard much of anything. And by the way, they did do things for North Carolina, but let's keep in mind, too, that Donald Trump has done almost nothing for the floods that happened in Kentucky. But we'll pretend that never happened. And a terrible hurricane which did so much damage. As soon as I got into office, we worked miracles with zero help from the Dems. We have been praised for the job that we did, and the Democrats have been scorned. Also, remember, you have a Democrat governor who is supposed to be doing the work that Chuck and other Republicans are doing. Don't let infiltrated town halls fool you. It's the only thing the Dems know how to do. A great job, Chuck. Now, the problem is that these are in traditionally red areas. And so, again, the problem is if you have any Republicans that are in those town halls, Donald Trump is saying, you are an infiltrator. You are littered. Okay? Not a way to really win over much, especially right before, prior to the election. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell to get notified of all future videos. And I hope you watch the next video. Thank you so much.